She waited until my wealthy in-laws were mid-sentence. Then she smiled and said, "Just be careful with investments. Remember when Ophelia almost got evicted in college?" The table went quiet. No one laughed. No one defended me. In one sentence, I went from equal to liability. That's not concern. That's positioning. Chloe and I met when we were 14. Two girls from broken homes, empty refrigerators, parents who were either gone or too exhausted to notice we were drowning. We used to sit on the roof of her apartment building and talk about escape. We made promises up there. No matter what happens, she would say, we climb out of this together. And for a long time we believed that. We worked terrible part-time jobs. We shared textbooks because we couldn't afford 2 copies. We split fast food meals and pretended we weren't still hungry. When I almost got evicted at 22, she was the only person who knew. I had just graduated, no savings, rent overdue, credit cards maxed out. I remember sitting in my car after work, staring at my phone, trying to decide which bill I could ignore without everything collapsing. That kind of shame changes you. It shrinks your voice. It makes you careful about how much space you take up in the world. Chloe brought groceries that week. She slept on my floor so I wouldn't spiral. She told me I was going to make it, and I believed her. That's why what happened at that dinner didn't just embarrass me. It hurt, because she knew exactly how hard that season had been. Fast forward 10 years. I did make it, not flashy, not influencer rich, not yacht vacations, but stable. A career I worked hard for, a marriage built on respect, a home that finally felt secure. My husband's family comes from old money, the quiet kind. Polished silverware, understated watches, conversations about investments and trusts like they're talking about the weather. No one brags, but you can feel the hierarchy in the room. I worked hard not to be the girl who married up. I wanted to be seen as capable, equal. That dinner was supposed to be simple. Soft lighting, crystal glasses, careful conversation. My father-in-law was explaining a new investment opportunity. Everyone was relaxed. Chloe had been invited because she was like family. She didn't interrupt. She didn't rush. She waited. She waited for the exact pause in conversation. Then she leaned forward slightly, smile gentle, voice warm. "Oh, just be careful with that," she said. "You know how stressed Ophelia gets about debt. Remember in college when she almost got evicted and I had to bail her out? We wouldn't want that happening again." It was delivered perfectly. The sound of a fork touching a plate echoed louder than it should have. My chest tightened. My cheeks burned instantly, and then I felt it. The shift. My father-in-law's expression didn't change dramatically. It just adjusted. My mother-in-law blinked once. Slowly. My husband turned toward me, confused, like he was calculating information he didn't know existed. I forced a small laugh. "College was a long time ago," I said lightly. Chloe squeezed my hand. "I'm just saying it because I care," she replied. That word. Care. That's what made it brilliant. Because she didn't lie. She reframed me. In one sentence, I went from competent adult to former liability. From partner to risk. And she did it under the mask of protection. There's something that happens when someone you grew up with sees you rise. It forces comparison. And comparison forces reflection. Sometimes that reflection inspires growth. Sometimes it creates resentment. When someone who started beside you begins climbing higher, it can feel like abandonment, even if they never left. And instead of asking, "How do I grow too?" some people quietly ask, "How do I level this out?" Chloe didn't shout. She didn't accuse. She used what I had trusted her with, and she delivered it in the safest way possible. Weaponized concern. That's when someone exposes your vulnerability while pretending it's for your benefit. It's socially strategic. If I reacted emotionally, I'd look defensive. If I stayed silent, I'd look guilty. She positioned herself as informed, responsible, protective. And me, the unstable variable. Dinner continued. But I felt every glance, every subtle recalibration. The way my father-in-law asked follow-up questions slightly more carefully. The way my mother-in-law smiled just a little thinner. And Chloe. She looked satisfied. Not smug. Not obvious. Just balanced. Like she had corrected something. That night in the car, my husband was quiet. Finally, he said, "I didn't know that happened." I nodded. "I was going to tell you eventually," I replied. He hesitated. "She probably didn't mean anything by it." That's when something inside me shifted, because intent wasn't the issue. Timing was. Context was. Audience was. If she truly cared, she would have checked in privately. If she respected me, she would have let me tell my own story. Instead, she chose a stage, and that's what made it sabotage. The next morning, I replayed everything. 15 years of friendship, reduced to one strategic sentence. I sent her a message. "Our friendship is over. Please don't contact me again." No long explanation, no dramatic argument. Her response came quickly. "I can't believe you're this sensitive. I was trying to protect you." Protect. Again. Some people don't want you to fail. They just don't want you to outgrow them. They are comfortable when you still need them. When your success doesn't shift the power dynamic. When your past keeps you reachable. Growth changes positioning. And insecure people react when positioning changes. There's a pattern sometimes called crab mentality. If one crab starts climbing out of the bucket, the others pull it back down. Not always out of cruelty. Sometimes out of discomfort. Chloe and I were supposed to climb out together. When I climbed first, she didn't cheer. She adjusted the narrative. Life lesson 1. A true friend protects your present, not advertises your past. Life lesson 2. If someone shares your vulnerability publicly without your permission, that's not honesty, it's positioning. Life lesson 3. Silence during disrespect reveals more than shouting ever could. My husband didn't defend me loudly at that table, but later when we talked, he understood. And the next time we saw his parents, I told my own story. Calmly, clearly, not as shame, as resilience. And something interesting happened. No one judged me, because people who respect strength don't fear struggle. They respect recovery. Now I want to ask you something real. If someone helped you by exposing your lowest moment in front of others, would you forgive them? Or would you finally see them clearly? Because sometimes betrayal doesn't yell. It smiles. And that's what makes it dangerous. Welcome to Beneath the Story.